Hello, everyone. Good afternoon.
Good
Uh,
afternoon.
it's,
Hello.
Hi.
it's a pleasure having you all here. And well, we have here our full team of partners. And I know that you all here must be very interested about learning a little bit more about the Golden Visa, the investments that you can make in Portugal, as well as the tax incentives that we have in Portugal for residents. And well, we are here to make this presentation for you today. Let me start introducing myself, and then I'm going to hand over for Ana, Miguel, to introduce themselves. And then we're going to move forward the presentation firstly about the Golden Visa. Secondly, Ana is going to take over about the investment fund, Insula Capital. And finally, Miguel is going to close this presentation, presenting a little bit more about the tax incentives that we have in Portugal for residents, okay? So everyone, my name is Marcos. I work at Atlantic Bridge. I'm a consultant here. I'm a specialist in the Golden Visa process. And yeah, let me hand it over to Anna. Give a little background about yourself.
Hello, Marcos. Thank you. Thank you. It's a great pleasure to be here with you today. So my name is Ana Rita. I'm head of new business development in Insula Capital. So Insula Capital is the top fund management companies in Portugal. We managed 1.5 billion euros in assets across 21 funds. And as Marcos referred, I will be here today to explain you about the fund market in Portugal and present you our most recent fund, that is the Flex Space Fund. Thank you, Marcos. Thank you again.
Well, I'm Miguel Bento Ribeiro. First of all, thank you for the invitation, Marcos. I'm a tax lawyer at one of Portuguese top law firms, and I'm a specialist in corporate and individual tax law. So it will be a pleasure to let you know a bit more about the regimes that we have now in Portugal, and maybe we can connect later. So
Amazing. Thank you, Miguel.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. So I'm going to start the presentation, but I want to make this as interactive as possible because here it's not a one-way presentation, but rather we want to be here as your advisor. So in case you have any doubts, please write them down in the private chat. Even if we don't answer it right away, we are going to save it for later. We're going to provide feedback for them. Okay. So yes, be my guest. Now let me jump into the presentation. Just give me 1 second. Mhm. Okay, so I don't know how many of you have had the chance to visit Portugal, but we always start with this amazing view of Porto. Porto is, in my opinion, one of the most gorgeous city in Portugal. Please, Miguel, don't complain. Miguel and Ana, who are based in Lisbon, please. Yeah, this is what I feel. Not saying that Lisbon is much less than that. Lisbon is also another amazing city, you know. And thanks for your interest about Portugal. Let's start moving forward and let me speak a little bit about Atlantic Bridge, right? So Atlantic Bridge, we are a residency and citizenship consultancy firm. We are a company that's been in the market for, well, since 2018 as a company, but our founding partners, they have been working on this for many years, more than that. We started in Porto. That's where our headquarters is. But now we have offices in Lisbon, in Madrid, and in Sao Paulo. We have a team of 70 employees. Among those, we have lawyers who are going to assist you in all the process from end to end. We have customer support team who are going to address all of your needs and make all of your interactions and serve you in the best way. And we have the full team to support you there. In our capacity, we have already served over 4,000 clients from all over the world. We have had clients from 30 different nationalities, and we have a success rate of 99%. The vast majority of our clients comes from the USA. We have a bunch of clients from Brazil as well, but from all over the world, and we are well positioned to provide you full support in this matter. Our agenda here is going to be, firstly, I'm going to speak a little bit about the Portuguese Golden Visa. Then I'm going to explain you what are the current paths one can choose for getting their citizens, for getting their Golden Visa. I'm going to speak a little bit about the requirements, about family reunification, and then I'm going to move ahead and provide you a timeline there. The Golden Visa, okay? So let me provide a perspective about what it is in a broad sense, a historical perspective, because I think it's always very useful. So the Portuguese Golden Visa has been set up right in the aftermath of the Portuguese fiscal crisis as a way to boost investment in the Portuguese economy. It started as a way to attract investments to improve the real estate in Portugal, and it was a huge success. And it's been since then. It's been in the market for a number of years. It's been successful. Today, the Portuguese Golden Visa is renowned as one, if not the most complete golden visas that exist in the whole world. Okay, and when you think about the Golden Visa, you must think about what you get from a Golden Visa, right? Well, I'm going to start saying that the Golden Visa must be understood as an investment. It's an investment. It's going to provide you yields. It's going to provide a good return, but it's also going to provide you a way to get a residency in Portugal with a further citizenship. Okay, so with the Golden Visa, the investor will be able to, number one, while holding the Golden Visa, he will be free not only to live in Portugal, but also to move in the Schengen zone for as long as they want to move in the Schengen zone. And when I talk about the residency in Portugal, and differently from all other paths to the residency and citizenship, the Golden Visa is the only one which allows the investor to get a residency if he wants to, but also to live abroad if he doesn't want to. So it provides you the flexibility to get a permit to live in Portugal and a future citizenship without requiring you to actually move from your home country to Portugal. You're only required to stay a period of 7 days per year while holding the Golden Visa. After 5 years of your investment, you are then eligible for citizenship. Okay, a full European citizenship, which will grant you not only the right to live and work in Portugal, as the residency one does, but also the right to live and work in any other country within the Schengen zone. And the Schengen zone includes the full EU plus a few other countries. Needless to say that if you choose to live in Portugal, you have access to a very safe country. It's being constantly ranked as top 3 country in terms of security. The investor and his family will also have access to a very high quality health system and a free education system. So in a nutshell, the Golden Visa is a path towards citizenship, a possibility to live in Portugal, but not a mandatory requirement to live in Portugal, that will give you the freedom to access the full Schengen zone while you are a holder of the Golden Visa. After the citizenship, you are free to live wherever you want in the Schengen zone if you want to. And yeah, it's you can go for the safety of Portugal, safety of Europe, public health, and public education. Okay. Well, when I started speaking, I mentioned that the Portuguese Golden Visa has been set up back in the aftermath of the Portuguese fiscal crisis as a way to rejuvenate the real estate in Portugal, which was a huge success, as you can imagine. The cities are now much more gorgeous than they were before. You see a lot of new buildings. You see a lot of rejuvenation in the towns. But with the evolution of the Golden Visa, a few things have changed, right? So the Portuguese government, while acknowledge the success of the Golden Visa as investment tool and as a way to attract investments, it perceived that, well, investing in the real estate was not any longer a goal for the Portuguese government. In this sense, the Golden Visa, while still in the mind of the people, is still very related to real estate. It simply changed the path towards it, and it doesn't accept any longer investment in the real estate. Instead, uh, there are three new paths that one can choose to go for a Golden Visa. The first one, which we're going to explore in more details here, is investing in an investment fund. And well, Anahita is going to explain you about one of the most exciting investment funds that we have in Portugal right now, right after my presentation. The second path is building is creating setting up a business and creating and committing to have these jobs to have a certain number of jobs filled for a period of time. Okay. Thirdly, is a donation for the scientific research and artistic and cultural production. Okay. So to recap, number one is investment fund. Basically, you're going to invest your resources with some investment managers who are going to make use of your investments to make investments in assets, and I'm going to explain a little bit more about this in the next slide. Second, creating a business and creating jobs. This can sound interesting, but for the Golden Visa, it's not the best path. We strongly recommend the investment fund otherwise. And yeah, if there's anyone further question about this, we can answer it, but we're not going to focus on that one. And the third path is making a donation, making a gift for projects in the area of scientific research, artistic, and cultural production. And I'm saying here a gift because it's not an investment. You are not going to receive any fund back. It's basically a donation, a patronage for those types of projects. Okay. So when you talk about investment funds, one can think about going this path. The requirements are basically that the investor must invest at least €500,000, 500,000 euros, in a Portuguese Golden Visa investment fund. And that means that it must be a fund managed by Portuguese fund managers, established under the CMVM, which is the Securities Agency in Portugal. It must follow the compliance regulations for the Golden Visa as well. That being that the funds of that investment fund must be invested at least 60% in Portuguese companies. Okay, so 60% of the full resources of that fund must go to Portuguese entities. The remaining 40%, the fund can choose wherever to invest. The only exclusion here is real estate. So not a single part of this fund must be invested in real estate. Okay. Finally, the investor must keep his investments in the fund for a minimum of 5 years. So he must make this investment to be eligible to apply for the Golden Visa. And this investment must be kept in the fund for a period of at least 5 years. Okay. Here we are going to showcase the case of Insula. Insula is our partner. Anahita here is going to go in more details, but I would love to speak a little bit more about them from a third party. So Insula is one of the largest investment managers in Portugal. They have been in the market since the beginning of the Golden Visa. They have a huge success in terms of funds. They have a portfolio, and correct me if I'm wrong, of over 1.5 billion euros. And yeah, and well,
Correct.
it's they are renowned and they know what they are doing. And we are going to present here, following that, the Flex Space Fund, which is also a really interesting proposition that Anna is bringing. And I think that it's a really interesting proposition because it actually leverages on Insular Capital's knowledge and history of managing Golden Visa funds. And it invests in a really promising sector of the economy, providing the expectation of really appealing and interesting returns and safety for the capital. Okay. Additional requirements. Well, the applicant, the main investor, must not have any criminal convictions. The investment must be kept in the fund for a period of at least 5 years. And while holding the Golden Visa, the investor and his family must visit Portugal for a period of at least 7 days per year. And that is what we recommend, 7 days every year being in Portugal. Okay, so it's a straightforward requirement that one must comply to be eligible for the Golden Visa. Additionally, let's talk about family, right? Family reunification. Let's say the benefits of the Golden Visa is not restricted to the main applicant. It can be extended to his family. And by the family, it means your children, including stepchildren, if they are minor, if they are underage. If they are 18 years or above, they can also be eligible as long and while they are financially dependent, studying, and single. Okay, so let's say you have a kid of 18 years old who has just joined the uni. You can include him in your application, but you must be careful, and you must keep him studying and paying for his education. And he must stay single until the end of the 5-year period when he is eligible for the citizenship. It is also extendable for the partners, and partners don't need to be a formal marriage, but it can be a stable union. If you're together for at least 2 years, your partner is eligible for the Golden Visa. And you can also bring and extend the Golden Visa to your parents, and your in-law parents. Okay. In this case, if they are 65 years old or older, it's automatically you can simply include them in your Golden Visa. If they are younger than that, then you must prove that they are economically dependent, and that's it. So the Golden Visa is a tool that allows you to not only get your path to the citizenship, your residency, but you can also extend it to your family. It's a gift for your family. And let's say if you have kids, you can imagine, I mean, they growing in a safe environment with access to education, to very high quality education, to schools at a much reasonable price than that in the US. So it can be very appealing for a family. Finally, and very importantly, I'm going to walk you through our timeline. If you are considering applying for the Golden Visa, this is how it looks like. And I'm sorry, something happened here. I can only see Miguel right now.
Yeah, you're starting to showing myself. I don't know why.
Just let me see if I can go back to the presentation. But basically, let's go back to the timeline. Now I can see, here we have the timeline again. And things happen, right? Electronic management. So we are back here. Our timeline is basically as you see here, but I think there are some really relevant considerations, and I'm going to take this time also to explain you how we can support you in this journey, okay? So everything starts with an initial interview. So if considering that you decide to hire Atlantic Reach, the first step is you speaking with one of our lawyers. So we are going to sit down with you. We are going to understand what are your plans, what is your situation. We are going to help you navigate all of the documentation you might need. So we're going to list the documents you must get from your home country, any type of certification, authentication that you might need. We are going to define where to do it, where to get it. All of the Portuguese documentation, our team is going to take care of that. Okay. Also, we are going to help you open your Portuguese bank account and guiding you through all of the legalities here. Then when everything is set, we are going to, and the investment is going to make the investment in the investment fund. The investment fund is going to issue an investment letter. And that's the final step in this first stage, okay? I would say here you see from 2 to 5 months. To be honest, it seems quite a lot. We have seen that it is possible, and most of our clients do this entire piece from the initial interview down to the IAM application in between 2 to 3 months. so it can be quite quickly. It depends more on the agility of the customer than anything else. Okay. Once everything is defined, the documents are in hand, then our attorney, our lawyer, is going to apply on the investor's behalf for IMA. IMA being the Portuguese immigration agency. So our lawyers are going to fill all the forms, is going to read that, to write down your application thesis, and is going to do everything on your behalf. This is where the clock starts ticking for your citizenship. Okay, from the moment one applies for IMA, 5 years from that moment is when you get your citizenship. Then, whenever we apply for IMA, the agency is going to make an assessment of your documentation. And after that, they are going to give a go for our lawyers to schedule a biometric, which is basically an in-person meeting in Portugal for you to give your fingerprints and apply for and having an interview. The investor is going to have an interview, and that's it. After a period, then he's going to get his residence card. Okay, the residence card is valid for a period of 2 years, and one must renew it for at least having 5 years of period since the application at IMA, and from that moment on, he is able to apply for the citizenship. I just want to explore some things a little bit further here, okay? Because people here can look into this timeline, right? From IMA to biometrics, and from biometrics to residence card. You see here a period that can go up to 3 years, right? And yes, this is where the bottleneck used to be. IMA was overwhelmed with the number of processes they were reviewing, and that was actually resulting in very delayed analysis, resulting in a larger timeline than what would be appropriate, right? But we have good news. We have good news from the government. Okay, back in January this year, the government has made an announcement that basically states a change in the processes and hiring more people. And basically, what they are doing is they are extending the powers of the assessment of the processes for more people within each IMA office. We used to be very restricted, so more people will be able to assess it. Additionally, they are hiring a number of new agents to be able to take care of the application processes. And the promise is that from IMA application down to the residence card, the process is expected to go down to 6 months. Okay, so in short, if you are seeing here a period, a timeline from IMA to residence card of 3 years, the expectation is that it will soon be reduced to no more than half a year. So the process is going to be much more agile and much more simplified for whoever applies for the Golden Visa. Okay, the Golden Visa applicant is allowed to move to Portugal after receiving the residence card, and this is where he has the full residence permit to live and work in Portugal if he wants to. Basically, let's go for the next slide. Oh, I'm the one who has to change it. That was my part of the presentation. Here is our contact. If you want to speak with us, you have it here. But this was the part of the Golden Visa. As you see, it's very straightforward. There's not a lot of tricks here, and we'll be more than happy to support you in all of the journey. Just a final thing is, I started with a bridge and I'm closing with another bridge. The first bridge you saw was the Porto one. In my opinion, the most gorgeous one. This one is the one in Lisbon, which is also amazing. You see how great the River Tejo is, and yeah, basically. Now I'm going to hand it over to Anna. She's going to make a presentation about the Flex Fund, and she's going to walk you through Insular Capital and so on. Anna, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Marcus. Thank you so much. So let me start to present the FlexFates Fund. So I would like to start to present Insular Capital, that is the fund manager of FlexSpace Fund, a fund that invests in the co-working market in Portugal. So, as Marcos referred previous, so Insula Capital currently is managing 1.5 billion euros in assets across 21 funds. So we have a very differentiated portfolio of clients, which involves institutional investors, international family offices, and private clients. Within our private clients, we have our Golden Visa investors, and currently we have more than 100 Golden Visa investors, which 50% are from US. So we have a very differentiated funds. So I have here 3 examples. The first example is a Lagoas Park Fund, a fund that hosts the biggest and the best performing office park in Portugal. This fund is owned by Henderson Park, institutional investor with offices in US. And in this office park, we have tenants as Google, BMW, Samsung, McDonald's. Another fund that we managing is the retail fund, a fund that is owned by international family office, a French family office. In this fund, we have all the retail stores of Leroy Merlin. Leroy Merlin is do-it-yourself retail chain that has stores across the world, South America, Asia, and Europe. And the other example that I would like to speak about is our self-storage fund, a venture capital fund that was eligible for the Golden Visa program until 2023, is no longer available, but it's just an example of what we do and what kind of funds we have. So the Flex Space Fund is a very straightforward fund. So the fund invests 100% in district space, and district space is a co-working operator. So the fund has zero allocation to real estate assets, since district space is not buying or sell the assets. What district space is doing, establish lease agreements with the asset owners, perform capex, perform fit out, and after managing the space as a flex office or has a co-working. So we are investing in the fund 2 million, representing 10% of the fund. This is a fund that has a ticket of 20 million. Here we are offering the possibility of the investors double their investment within a 7 years period. Of course, these are targeting returns because this is a venture capital fund, and the returns are not guaranteed. So regarding the returns of the fund, I already mentioned that this presents the opportunity of you double your investment in the fund within 7 year period. But how this amount will be paid? So will be paid through dividends. We are targeting to pay annual dividends of 3.75% and capital gains, and the capital gains will be paid in the maturity of the fund. So what this means? This means if you invest 500,000 euros, you will receive roughly 970,000 euros if the fund performing according our target. Besides that, we offer to all of our investors in the fund the opportunity of working in any of our co-workings 1 month per year for free. This allows the investors can understand how we are running the business, and if they want, they can suggest improvings. But this is reinforced our commitment will be transparent about how we manage the business. So if you is an investor in the Flex Space Fund, you are coming for the mandatory 7 days in Portugal, you can work in our coworkings for free. So, but why we decide to invest in a Portuguese co-working market? Because this is an undersupplied and underdeveloped market. So in Portugal, the market is lagging behind the more mature market in Europe, which is London. So in London, the co-working stock represents 12% of the entire office stock. And in Portugal, we just have 5% of the office stock being allocated to flex office solutions. Besides that, what we are seeing in terms of the projections is that by 2030, the projections pointing out that 30% of the global office space will be allocated to co-working solutions, representing a huge potential of growth, considering where we are in Portugal. Additionally, we did several a deep market analysis, and we verified that the good co-workings are reporting occupancy rates above 90%. Some of them are reporting inclusive 100%. So, since we have an undersupplied market, we have the necessary know-how to managing co-workings, recalling that we managed Lagoas Park, that is the biggest and the best performing office park in Portugal, and we secured already a buyer for district space for our co-working operator. And who is this buyer? This buyer is an international, a European co-working operator that is in Europe but is not in Portugal. And they want to enter in Portugal, but they don't want to have all the work that involves to build a portfolio of locations. So they engage with us and they agree by district space in the maturity of the fund. Additional, just give you some notes that Portugal continue to be a very attractive market for foreigners, digital nomads that continue to choose Portugal, and digital nomads usually work in flex offices or in co-workings. And additionally, we continue to be super attractive for multinational companies that want to establish competency centers in Europe. And why Portugal? Because Portugal has high-skilled people. The majority of the people speaks a second language, usually English, and because we continue to have competitive wages when we compared with the remaining of Europe. So, and these companies choose flex offices to start in Portugal. So everything is pushing and the demand is not being supplied. We already start to managing our first location. So our first co-working site is in Setúbal. Setúbal is a 30 minutes driving for Lisbon. We start in October 2024, and we are already registering occupancy rate above 70%. We manage the entire building, representing 1,200 square meters of offices, and all of our sites will have a concept that involves have a co-working cafe in the bottom and the co-working in the upper floors. The co-working cafe is a pioneer concept in Portugal, and in this co-working cafe we sell time. So imagine that you are walking in the street, you have a business meeting, and you need to have, and you want to have a site to do it. So here in our Café Coworking, you buy 1 hour, you will have access to phone booth, to cafe, to snack. Everything is included, and what you are buying is time. Additionally, for our Café Coworking, we did a partnership with Café Joyeux, that is a French brand, an inclusive brand, because they training and employ people with intellectual and development disabilities. So we partnership with them in order to can have people with disabilities working in our Café Coworking, because we want to give a chance of that people can be included in the society and have an option besides to stay in house and have problems to be integrated. So next locations is already decided. It's already so Braga, Lisbon, and Porto will be opening this year. In terms of the timeline of the fund, so we have the subscription period open until June 26. So if investors can invest in the fund until June 26. So in June, the subscription period will close. By December 26, we want to have 50,000 square meters of offices under district operation. In June 31, we will finalize the negotiations to sell district space, and in May 32, the fund closes. So this represents more or less 7 years from now, which matching with the period that you need to have the Golden Visa and after to apply for the passport. As I mentioned, we are committed with creating impact in the society. So we are, District Space is a ESG brand. We are totally aligned with this concept. For that ones that are not familiar, what is ESG is environmental, social, and government. So in Europe, we have a strong alignment with this. The funds are being obliged to accomplish and demonstrate that they are accomplished with these topics. And District Space is in their way a pioneer in ESG, because, for example, District Space just use furniture that becomes from dead stocks of the furniture brands or pre-owned furniture. We partnership with Café Joyeux to help people to be integrated in the society. So we are really compromised regarding the ESG topics. Besides that, District Space will be B Corp certified. For that ones that are not familiar, what is B Corp certification? Is basically a certification that ensure the companies comply with the high standards of ESG topics. For example, Nespresso, the coffee brand, is a B Corp certified corporation. This is our management team. So Insula Capital is a company that is proud to be gender balanced. We have female leadership. We have ladies in the top roles. Our CEO is Florence Ricot. She is French. She owns 70% of Insula company. We have other shareholder, that is Claude Berda. He's French also, and he's a French multimillionaire with investments across Europe. We are 25 people. Our headquarters are in Lisbon, in Avenida da Liberdade. And this is a summary of the fund. So recalling, the fund is eligible for the Golden Visa program. The fund is registered in the Portuguese Security Market Commission, as well as Insula Capital. We have as auditor BDO. The fund has a subscription period open until June 26. The fund size is 20 million. Insula Capital is investing in the fund along with investors to have here an alignment in terms of interests and have skin in the game, share the risks. The minimum participation is 100,000 euros, and our subscription fee is 1,000 euros on top of the investments, and we are targeting to double the investment after a 7-year period. Recalling that all the profits that are paid from the fund, since the investor is not a tax resident in Portugal, will have 0% income tax over the profits. So the profits are net profits. So I will pass to Miguel for the next topic. For me, I complete my presentation. I will be totally available to answer to any questions that you may have. And thanks you again, Marcus.
Thank you. Before handing it over to Miguel, just give me 1 second because I really wanted to highlight something because I really find this fun fantastic, Anna, because I think Insula was able to put a few things together which can be quite compelling case for investors. I mean, Insula, needless to say, is one of the largest fund in Portugal with $1.5 billion in assets. They have a long track record of investment and managing commercial spaces, so they know how to do it. They have a really reputable management team who knows how to handle it, and they have been able to find a niche that not only is still underdeveloped in Portugal, which is the flex spaces. Well, when you go to London, most of the companies today, they are looking for flex spaces, and most of them, a huge number of them, are set in flex spaces because it gives them the flexibility to have their people. It reduces the need of large offices, and you see it booming. And it's something that has been spreading all over Europe, but it haven't yet reached that level in Portugal as it is in comparable metropolis like Madrid, Barcelona, Paris, and even London itself. So it's amazing. They know what they are doing. It's a segment that is close to the capability. It is eligible to the Golden Visa because it's not directly related to real estate. So it is something that is also must be taken into consideration. Insula Capital is putting their own skin on game, so they're investing on the fund along with investors. It's a fund that is really concerned about ESG topics. It's really social responsible, and well, they have a really clear exit in sight. So it's not that they are building a business and they don't know what they're going to do with the business in 8 years. No, they know how they're going to give this exit, and it promises a really interesting yield. So this is a really unique fund investment. And before without saying longer, I'm going to pass it to Miguel. He's going to speak about one very relevant topic as well, which is the Portuguese the tax incentive in Portugal. He's going to name it. Basically, it provides some tax incentives for income, not only that the investors get in Portugal, but also from abroad. So for high net worth individuals, it is, I would say, the cherry in the cake in terms of the Golden Visa. It's how do you make it very tax wise for your global income while getting your Golden Visa, your citizenship. So Miguel, the stage is yours.
Marcus, thank you very much. If you could share the presentation, yeah, there it is. Well, before we go through the specifics of this new regime, let me just say that Marcus ended his presentation by showing one of our Lisbon bridges. In case we have people from San Francisco here, just come to Portugal because it will be very smooth. The transition, as this bridge is sort of a copy of the San Francisco one, so you will still feel at home. Well, regarding the topic that you have invited me to speak on, I would like to stress out firstly the link or the connection between the Golden Visa and this tax regime, which we call the NHR 2.0. For those who are familiar with the old regime, which was the so-called NHR, which was very well known worldwide, this is a different regime. It was targeted for some specific people, and it has some differences in terms of taxation, but we'll go through there in a bit. Firstly, the Golden Visa permit, it could be connected to this tax regime, has a way of you to make a smooth transition to Portugal. And why is that? Because there are some other visa permits, and most of those will determine that you need to stay in Portugal for at least half of the year. Okay. What this means is that in principle, this will determine that you need to become a Portuguese tax resident. And this is not the case with the Golden Visa permit. The Golden Visa permit only determines that you need to stay in Portugal for at least 7 days per year. So let me start by stressing out the difference, which is very important, between what I would like to call legal residency and tax residency, because this is something that a lot of my clients make some confusions on it, and it's important to clarify. These visa permits and the Golden Visa permit will allow you to come to Portugal, to make this transaction, to move to Portugal, to stay in Portugal if you want to, or not. But this is sort of a door for you to enter, to freely enter Portugal and the other European Union countries. What this means is that if you decide to come to Portugal in 1 year and you are not prepared to make a definite change in that specific year, this Golden Visa will allow you to look at houses at Portugal, to make some arrangements to transfer your assets to Portugal if that is the case. Well, actually, what it means is it will give you time to structure your move to Portugal, okay? And once you come to Portugal, if you want to be under this new regime, the requirement is that you need to become a Portuguese tax resident here, okay? We have some specifics in terms of taxation with the US, because the US household tax is based on your not only on tax residency but also on citizenship. But it is important to stress out that we have a double tax treaty agreement with the US to avoid double taxation on income, okay? This is very important to stress out. Let me just pass the presentation. Well, Marcus, if you allow me, if you could pass to the next slide. Okay, thank you. I would like to start by the end. And what is the incentives that this regime intends to give to people that is under it? First of all, this regime was thought for people. Well, it was not thought, but it could have an application, a very good application for people with a lot of passive income. What I mean is that if you have financial portfolios and so on, and you receive passive, your main source of income is passive income, this regime is tailor-made in principle for you, because it will allow you to have zero taxation. What I mean is you will have an exemption on taxation of those incomes in Portugal. Those incomes are dividends, are capital gains, royalties, rental income, and so on. This regime left out the pensions, okay, which was one of the things that the other regime also had in it. So the other regime allowed, when I mean the other was the previous one, allowed that pensions could be exempt or have a maximum taxation in Portugal of 10%. Now this regime left out the pensions, but it starts to apply a wide open exemption to the capital gains, which in the other regime, most of the capital gains were left out. So in terms of passive income, most of the passive income, with the exception of offshore income, okay, such as BVI income, Cayman income, Isle of Man, and so on, Portugal has a list of tax havens, which are between 20 and 30 countries, which have very low taxation rates. And for those countries, this could not be applied. But in case you receive foreign income, what I mean foreign income is income that you receive outside of Portugal, it could be exempt from taxation in Portugal. Also, for provisions of services and employment income that you are providing in Portugal under an highly qualified activity, those provisions of services or the employment income would only have a flat rate of 20% in terms of income tax rate. Now let me go to the next slide. Marcos, I will need your help once again, please. Thank you. There's just two more left, so it will be very, very quick. Now, the requirements for you to enter this new regime. There are four main requirements. Two of those were already in the old regime, which are that you could not have been a tax resident in Portugal for the past 5 years. You need to become tax resident in the year that you come to Portugal and that you want to benefit from this NHR 2.0. You could not have benefit from the old NHR, and this I would like to stress that this is the new requirement for this regime, which in some cases needs some structure, in some others it's quite straightforward. You would need to perform an eligible activity for a Portuguese eligible company. And we have two possible scenarios here. Either you are going to be contracted for a Portuguese eligible company, which is already set up in Portugal and which is already working, or you could change your current company or open a new company in Portugal with an eligible activity and perform your activity through that company. Now, going to the next slide. In terms of eligible activities, both for the companies and both for the employees of those companies. Actually, one more thing I need to mention is that this regime has an application period of 10 years. Okay, after those 10 years, you start to become a normal Portuguese tax resident. Also, during that period, you are still under the general Portuguese tax rules with the specifics of this NHR. Okay, so you are not under a specific regime exclusively. No, you are under the normal Portuguese tax regime, but you have the specifics on the taxation of some types of income which would be exempt, and the other people which are under the normal regime do not have these exemptions. In terms of eligible activities, the regime was thought to attract to Portugal activities such as R&D activities, technologicals, professors, doctors, some activities linked to consultancy, which I mean is that not all consultancy services are eligible, but some of those are. Also, people linked to investment funds could also be eligible for this regime. So even though the requirements may look a bit close, they are wide open in terms of eligibility. We have a long list of activities, both for the companies and both for the employees, which could be eligible. In terms of the business activity, for you to have an eligible company in Portugal, you could either have a registered startup, and you have a process to do it. And good news about it, it was approved, I believe it was last week, a new regime for the approval of startups in Portugal, which was simplified. now the way for you to get a startup stamp in Portugal, it's much easier and much quicker. And also you could have some other activities which are eligible, and there's a long list of eligible activities that we can go if we have time for it. But I believe that our time is ending now, so I will terminate my presentation for now. And then if you have some doubts on it, we can go to that later.
Amazing, Miguel. Thank you for the presentation. And thanks for the audience for being here for such a long time. I think that just to recap, well, the Golden Visa itself, it's a really good tool for one who wants to get the citizenship in Europe without having to actually move and live in Portugal. It offers amazing investments, ones such as the Flex Fund that Anna mentioned and presented here. And well, it also gives a huge opportunity for you to get some very relevant tax breaks, not only on your income from within Portugal, but also from your global income, potentially even from your home country one, depending on your case. So this is basically the core of what we brought here. I have here a few questions that came from the audience, and well, I'm going to start with the first one. Okay, I think this first one here is for Anna. So Anna, this one here comes from Michael Reynolds. Anna, thanks for the great insight so far. Considering the growing demand for flexible office spaces and Portugal's position as a rising business hub, what makes the Flex Space Fund particularly attractive compared to other Golden Visa investment options?
Okay, I'll pointing out. Thank you, Marcos, and thank for the question. So I will say that we have some important topics that make us super attractive comparing with the other ones. First, so is how the fund management company is reliable. So we are managing 1.5 billion euros in assets, and we are not a management company that was created for the Golden Visa process purpose. So we managing several client profile. So we are committed to be here for much more years in the market. Additionally, we are investing along our investors in the fund. We are aligned in terms of the ESG topics. That is an important topic here in Europe. Our fund is an Article 8, which means that is a fund that have attention when make investments to be aligned with the ESG topics. So I believe that the funds that are Article 8 or Article 9, that is a European classification for how green are the funds, are in better position than the funds that are not targeting ESG topics, because here in Europe we are becoming more more restrictive in terms how the funds should comply with this. And another topic that I think it's important is the fact that we set the fund, and we set the company where the fund is investing. So everything is in our control. So we have no general partners. We are not just having a supervisory approach. We are managing the business. We control the business. So we have we are totally in terms of the business. So I think is another advantage of flex space fund.
Amazing, Anna. Thanks for the reply. I have another one here from Michael, and this one is for Miguel. Miguel, how long does it typically take for a US investor to obtain the NHR 2.0 status after becoming a Portuguese tax resident? Are there any key steps to ensure a smooth process? And let me add something else. At which point in the application of the Golden Visa should the investor apply for the tax regime?
Thank you, Marcus. Well, Michael is shooting out. So, in terms of the process should take place in the year that you would like to become Portuguese tax resident. So, the link between the Golden Visa, as I was mentioned before, under the Golden Visa, you do not need to become a Portuguese tax resident. So, this is something that you may choose. If you choose to become a Portuguese tax resident, namely because you would like to start living in Portugal, then you should also submit the papers to become a Portuguese tax resident. In terms of the NHR, you need to be eligible for the NHR 2.0 in the same year that you apply for the Portuguese tax residency. So in the year that you determine that you would like to become Portuguese tax resident, in the same year, you need to verify all the other requirements for you to apply the NHR 2.0. In terms of the key aspects to make a smooth transition to Portugal, I would say that you need to align this tax transition with the legal transition. What I mean is that these two separate subjects, which are the immigration process, the visa immigration process, and the tax regime, in this specific case, the tax residency, they need to be fully aligned between them, because this will depend on the type of visa that you would like to apply for, and it is also important to structure, because if you are applying for a visa that will determine that you need to become Portuguese tax resident in that same year, which is not the case of the Golden Visa, in that case, you need to make sure that all your investments are structured in the way that they are friendly of this NHR 2.0 in order for you to apply the full exemptions and could optimize your financial portfolio in terms of taxes in Portugal. I would say that those are the requirements for you to take care of.
Thank you, Miguel. Well, I think this one has been answered. We have another one here from Roberta, which is basically for Anna here. What happens if an investor wants to sell the investment in the fund before it reaches a maturity?
Okay, so the fund is a closed fund, which means that if you want to sell your participation units before the maturity of the fund, you need to do it in a secondary market. So what this means? This means that we, Insula Capital, can assess in the first place or in the first instance if we have interest in buy your participation units. Additionally, we can find also an investor that is already in the fund and they want to reinforce their investment in the fund. And the three option is we find a third investor that is not investing in the fund, but wants to invest in the flex space fund. This will be the third options if the investor want to exit before the maturity of the fund.
Thank you, Anna. We have another one here from Carmine Bean. He wants to know what's the minimum to invest in the flex space fund for Golden Visa. I saw 250 euros to have 250,000 euros. Let me just verify it. I think a part is mine, a part is yours, Anna. So let's split it in two, right, Carmine? The first part is if you want to invest in a Golden Visa, the minimum investment to be eligible for a Golden Visa is 500,000 euros, okay? As for the fund, it depends on the fund. And now Anna can speak better about the requirements of the flex space.
So yes, in terms of the flex space fund, we have a minimum participation of 100,000 euros, which means that if you want to invest 50% with us and 50% with other funds, you can do it. But if you want to invest 500,000 euros with us, we are super happy. So we establish a minimum of 100,000 euros to allow the investor can have an option.
Amazing, Anna. Thank you. I have another question here, which is quite common. Maybe it's even mine, right? So, how much do ESG factors influence your investment decisions? And do you believe that sustainable investment has a competitive advantage over a traditional one?
Definitely, they have, because especially in European Union, when the regulations are becoming more and more restrictive regarding ESG topics. So recalling that the European Union has the target to be carbon neutral by 2050. So the funds are being obliged to accomplish with ESG metrics. For the funds that are not complying with these metrics yet, they will be definitely penalized in the future, and this can compromise the returns that they will be able to pay to the investors, because they will need to be investments to become aligned with ESG topics, and these investments will penalize the returns that will be paid for to the investors. So I would say that the funds that are already aligned with the ESG topics will be more resilient in the future than ones that are not.
Yeah, it makes sense. Well, I have another one, and well, we know we are living very uncertain economic times, right? And considering that the Flex Space Fund targets high demand market, how do you see its resilient in such uncertain economic times?
So I think after COVID, that was a huge, that have a huge impact in several sectors of our society. The co-working markets show a strong resilience because the people want to be flexible. I would say that when we have uncertainty, the people usually give more value to be flexible, because they want to have the capacity to adapt to the moment. So the flex offices, I would say, that are better prepared to accommodate the behavior changes and all changes that the future can face, comparing with traditional offices. Because, as I mentioned, when we cannot predict the future with certainty, we want to have flexibility, and is exactly what the flex offices can give you.
Thank you, Anna. And well, we are heading towards the end of our webinar, but I still have a very pertinent and I think one of the last questions here. And this one here is from Miguel, right? So, well, we know that there are changes and different countries are competing for attracting investors and attracting high net worth individuals to move there, right? Especially with the end of the regimes like the UK, non-dom and others. You see countries like Spain and Italy with some new offerings. And well, for someone who is in doubt about why or if the Portuguese regime is better, or how does it compare with such other options that you have here in Europe? How competitive it is, and why you would say it is competitive?
Thank you for the question, Marcus. Well, there are two other main regimes that most of our clients look for, which are the Italian one, and which is also sort of a non-dom, and the Spanish one, which we call the Beckham law, because it was in place when Beckham made that change to Real Madrid in the past. In terms of I would say that the Portuguese regime has some main features that are best than the other ones, and one that is worst. The one that is worst is for tax haven income. So income that arises from tax havens, people that has most of their income arising from tax havens, in principle, they should not look immediately to Portugal unless they structure those investments, and if they change those to another country, which is something that very commonly happens with our clients. But for those types of offshore income, normally the Spanish and the Italian ones and the Italian regime are better. For the other normal types of income arising from US, Ireland, Luxembourg, and so on, I would say that the Portuguese regime is probably the best one, because first, it will grant access to the double tax treaties that Portugal has signed with those other foreign countries. And the Spanish and the Italian one, they do not give access to the double tax treaties that those countries have signed. And one huge difference also between the Portuguese and the Spanish one, which has been a trigger for some of our clients in terms of the Spanish one in the past, is the need for you to be an employee of a company that you could not have any share capital of. So in the case of Portugal, you could set up your own company and be eligible for the regime. In Spain, no. You need to be an employee from a company from other shareholders that could not be you. Even if you have a minimum percentage of that, you would not be eligible. And I would say that those are the main figures and the main differences of these regimes. Also, in terms of costs of application, the Portuguese regime does not have a specific cost of application. You would only pay for the advisory of the lawyers. And in terms of, for instance, the Italian one, they have, if I'm not mistaken, 200k of cost that you immediately have to pay to the Italian tax authorities, which is also a huge difference.
Perfect, Miguel. I think we are heading to the end of our call. I see here there is one pending message from Michael, and Michael, we're going to answer this via email, okay, directly with you, and really appreciate all the time that you have invested here in this webinar. Again, the Golden Visa is a great option if you're considering to have a second citizenship. It can be a great investment. It can yield very relevant tax savings. And we are here to support you through all of your journey from end to end, tackle all of your doubts, and even support you before you take this decision. So I really encourage you all to reach out to us in case you want to tackle any specific case or you want to explore anything further. Okay. As I mentioned here, I'm going to follow up on unanswered cash questions here via email. I'm going to pass it to Anna and to Miguel for their closure. Anna?
Thank you, Marcos. So I just want to thank you again for inviting us to be here in this webinar. It was a great pleasure. We are totally available to clarify any questions. And is this? And thank you so much again.
Miguel?
From my part, I do not have anything else to add. Just let me thank you for the invitation and hope to hear from our viewers soon.
Well, once again, thank you for our audience, and Miguel, Anna, we really appreciate being always with you together. And for the audience, it's been a pleasure being with you. Just reach out to us and we are happy to support you. Bye.
It was mine. Bye-bye.
Bye.